The Nether world border is considered the loneliest place in all of Minecraft. Located 30 million blocks away from the center of the Nether, you would have to be insane to try and dig a tunnel all the way out there. Well, for the past 13 months, on the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft, two separate accounts have been racing each other to become the first to make it to the Nether border legitimately. They've broken millions of blocks of netherrack and in the process have set the record for the longest tunnel ever built in Minecraft history. You're probably already wondering, why would people spend over 1 year of their lives digging a straight line in Minecraft? Well, traveling to the Nether world border was considered the last true milestone that had not yet been achieved on 2b2t. So today, we'll discuss the history of the Nether Border Dig project, the challenges that were faced along the way, how it eventually turned into a race, and the surprising ending that no one expected. You won't believe the result. This expedition was a crazy topic to document, so as always, if you hit that subscribe button, I appreciate your support. Now, it all started in April of 2020 at a base on the server called Hopin. Two of the players that were living there at the time were named Zonga and Family Pumpkin. Both of them had grown bored, and with much of the world going into lockdown, they had a lot of spare time at their disposal. They wanted to accomplish a massive project that no one had ever done before. The idea of digging all the way to the Nether's world border was brought up as a joke. Both the overworld and end dimension borders had already been reached legitimately in 2017, but the Nether border had not. It was long considered a fool's errand. While glitching onto the Nether roof and just walking was the easiest way to get there in single player, on 2b2t, plugins prevent the roof from being traveled on. So to get there without the use of exploits, you would have to dig a tunnel that was at least 30 million blocks long. That's the real-life equivalent of 18,000 miles or 30,000 kilometers. After doing some math, they realized that while it would take an absolutely absurd amount of time to dig, it wouldn't be as improbable as they originally thought. If they had access to enough diamond pickaxes and took turns using the same Minecraft account, it was actually doable. So it was decided they were going to do the impossible and travel all the way to the Nether world border. They made their way to Point Nemo, which was where the overworld border was reached by the original X-Highway group in 2017. Once there, they quietly began recruiting people that were willing to help with the expedition. By starting at Point Nemo's Nether coordinates, they would need to travel another 26 million blocks to reach their destination. One of the people recruited was named Jordan L666. In 2018, he had attempted to travel to the border using an exploit called Boat Phase. It allowed someone to fly through solid Nether chunks so quickly that they wouldn't even properly load, appearing completely invisible. He managed to make it 20 million blocks out before the exploit was fixed, and he ended up back at spawn. This meant that he held the verified record for farthest distance traveled in the Nether. With him on board and the rest of the team assembled, they obtained the coordinates to one of the stashes used by the original X-Highway group. They would use these materials to gear up for the journey, and in mid-April, the expedition finally began. An account was chosen that would be shared between them so they could take turns using it while other members were sleeping. While they had prepared for digging a tunnel, it was decided that fireworks and elytra would be used to fly there, but navigating around Nether terrain constantly proved to be incredibly frustrating. After 1 month of travel, they had gone over 1 million blocks when they hit their first major obstacle. The account had glitched and accidentally died in lava, causing it to go back to the overworld border. This death was a huge inconvenience, so it was decided that instead of risking another glitch, they would just bite the bullet and dig a tunnel all the way to the border. So in May of 2020, the Nether Border Tunnel project was officially started. The group members would take turns digging the tunnel, repairing the pickaxes, and occasionally resupplying if necessary. It didn't take long for them to catch up to where the account had originally died. As they continued on, they began to find blocks that Jordan had left behind from his previous boat phase expedition. In August of 2020, after 3 months of digging, they managed to make it 8 million blocks in the Nether. At this point, they were still the only ones attempting to reach the border, so it wasn't a race, at least not yet. But not long after this milestone, tragedy would strike. One of the members of the team had used a backdoored hack client which stole the login credentials of the shared account. The hacker logged in expecting to find a base or an item stash, but when he realized it was just a simple nether tunnel, he threw the account into lava. He didn't just send it back to the overworld border, he sent it back to spawn. This meant that the account would have to walk 8 million blocks just to resume progress. This was a major blow to the dig team's morale, and it would take months for them to return to where they left off. By January of 2021, the team had recovered and had managed to reach 10 million blocks. They found a sign that Jordan had previously left with the boat phase exploit. This motivated the group and progress started accelerating. Just 1 month later, they managed to reach 15 million blocks, the official halfway point to the Nether border. They built a milestone to celebrate their achievement, but little did they know that this secret project was about to turn into a race. Enter Hare Yukai, a 2b2t player with an interest in automation. He was a member of the group MEG, or the Motorway Extension Gurus, who had done a lot of work building roads in the Nether. He had been experimenting with Baritone to make a completely self-sufficient mining bot. It was capable of digging tunnels and repairing its own gear without the need for user input. To put it to the ultimate test, he decided he would automatically dig all the way to the eastern Nether border, having no idea that the dig team was trying to reach the exact same one. He had spent months preparing the account with the proper gear, and since he was worried about the bot being killed by PvPers, he decided to start a completely fresh tunnel 30,000 blocks off the axis, so it would run parallel to the highway. Despite starting the tunnel near spawn, he calculated that if conditions were optimal and he left his computer running the entire time, the bot could reach the border in 1,500 hours or 63 days of non-stop mining. So in late February, the bot began its long journey, and unknown to both parties, they were now racing each other to the Nether border. The dig team continued to make steady progress, breaking millions of blocks of netherrack every few weeks, but Hare's bot was able to stay logged in 24/7 without getting kicked, and only disconnected for server restarts. Because it was constantly digging and repairing its gear without breaks, it was slowly able to catch up. In early April, the bot actually managed to take the lead, with the dig team being blissfully unaware that their achievement could potentially be stolen from them. Regardless, they continued working at their regular pace. On May 5th, 2021, the team managed to make it to 20 million blocks in the Nether and built another milestone. The hype within the group was very strong at this point. It seemed certain that they would reach their goal sooner than expected. But on May 14th, 2021, everything changed. Hare's bot had made it to the border in just 77 days, only 2 weeks longer than the original calculation. His account was now the first ever to dig a tunnel all the way. When news of the milestone began to spread, the dig team didn't believe it. One of the members dug a side tunnel 30,000 blocks north, and to their complete shock, there was indeed a second tunnel. It was real, and the dig team was crushed by the news. A goal they had been working on for an entire year had been stolen right under their noses. Feeling bad, Hare got into contact with the group and apologized. He had no idea the dig team was attempting to reach the border, and his bot was merely a proof of concept. At this point, he actually encouraged the team to continue. Since their tunnel was directly on the X highway, it meant completing the dig would technically break the record for the longest tunnel ever built in Minecraft history. This prospect reinvigorated the group, and with Hare joining forces with them, they continued their dig to the border. It's a good thing they did, because what they would end up finding was truly bizarre. At around 25 million blocks, the team came across signs at a pre-built rest stop, despite there being no tunnels connected to it. These signs were dated 2017, the same year that the overworld border was reached. They quickly realized that it was actually a replica of one of the original rest stops on the X highway. But how did it get here? And why was it here? The dig team was puzzled, and they knew something wasn't quite right. They took note of the rest stop and continued digging. As they got closer to the border and built more milestones, the group's hype was at an all-time high. Finally, on June 22nd, 2021, Zonga livestreamed himself completing the journey to the world border. Stretching almost 34 million blocks, the dig team's tunnel was now the longest in Minecraft history. The primary account that had been used for the dig had a completely wacky statistics page and had dug so much netherrack that it couldn't even show the entire number. But at the border, the truth was finally confirmed. Neither Hare or the dig team had been the first to see the border with their own eyes. Signs were found from 2020, left by a player named IronException. It turned out that Iron was one of a few players that had used a teleport exploit to travel to the border a month before the team had even started their dig. He had won the race before it even began. Iron had also been responsible for creating the replica rest stop, as he thought it'd be a funny way to troll anyone crazy enough to dig all the way to the border. When questioned about the teleport exploit, all Iron said was "can't say." So the race to the Nether border was finally over, and the longest tunnel in Minecraft history was completed. All three borders had now been reached through traditional means without the use of exploits. Absolute insanity. Now, after a long journey like this, you better be hitting that subscribe button and leave a like. And don't forget to follow my socials. So take it easy, Fit Fam, and if you plan to go all the way to the border, stay alive out there.